besties, welcome to Crime and Coffee. My name is Aisha Noor, and on this channel I talk about true crime while getting ready. So don't forget to subscribe, like, share, comment, click that bell icon down below, and tell a friend to tell a friend to tell a friend, support a sister. Yeah, so without any further ado, let's jump into the video. Following presentation contains graphic detailed description of the crime scenes, mentions of sexual assault, and strong language. Viewer discretion is highly advised. So today we are going to take a trip to Zambia here in Africa, our neighbor, and we're going to talk about one man who terrorized women, the women of Zambia, and he shook the whole country. Women never felt safe during his time, and you really can't trust anybody. It's so sad to say, but you will be shocked when you find what role this guy played in the country. And this is someone you are told to trust, or you believe you can trust them, but then he takes advantage of his position and what role he is supposed to play in the country, and turns around and starts committing crimes against women and females all across Zambia. So yeah, let's get into the story. Let's get into it and do what we do best here. So Zambia is known to be a very peaceful country, and that is until this one man decided, you know what, I'm going to give you all some entertainment. I'm going to give you all, I'm going to shake, the country. And he started terrorizing women and killing them in gruesome manners and leaving the, decomposing bodies for the police to find everywhere. And he had a thing for leaving unalive women's bodies in public places and even schools. Like, can you imagine, you're just in school and you've gone to the field and you bump into a decomposing body? Like, that can be really, really traumatizing. So he was named as the Lusaka Strangler. He was from Lusaka. That is what was his name, and his real name is Milton Mufungulwa Sipalo. I hope I haven't butchered that name. Milton Mufungulwa Sipalo. That was his name, and it was said that he killed a female for every week for 9 months. He was busy. Satan works, but the Lusaka Strangler worked harder during his reign. And like I mentioned earlier, he always strategically placed the bodies of his victims in places where police will definitely find them. So it was like he was playing a game with police. Like, he really wanted the police to find all these bodies. And at first, police had no idea, because when all these killings were starting, they never had an idea it was going to be a murderous spree. They didn't know what was coming. That is one thing that is for sure. And one thing is that just because this guy, oh, by the way, spoiler, he's a soldier. He's called Corporal Milton Mufungulwa Sipalo. So I think because he was a soldier, it kind of gave him an upper hand of covering his tracks and playing, being under the rug for quite a while, because police really they really struggled to find his identity and who he is. And he had killed a lot of women by the time police actually came to know who he is, and even by the time they came to know that they were actually looking for a soldier, one of them. And then before he was captured, this guy had killed 29 women. Well, at least that is the number of bodies police had retrieved. So we don't know for a fact, or like for sure, like we can say he actually had killed 29 women. Maybe he killed more. I hope not. I really, really hope not. And on January 5th, 1980, an anonymous call was made to Lusaka police to report an alive body, a dead body in the field behind a primary school, a boy primary school. And when police found the body, it was already decomposing. But one thing that was clear is that this body the murder did not take place at the school where the body was found. It actually took place elsewhere, and the body was actually strategically placed there. And I wonder, like, why did he place the body? Why did he decide to place the body at primary school where kids are learning? This is not a sight to see. This is very traumatizing for the kids, more or less to say. So the police at first really did genuinely thought that it was just, a one, it was just like one murder, a one-time thing. But the next day, they actually found a dead body of a woman, a decomposing dead body, at a footpath. And then that's when they realized, oh my God, this is just not one murder. This is not someone who just decided to murder. We have a serial killer on our hands. And this guy is going to give them a headache. This guy is going to play with their heads. They're going to play Tom and Jerry. They're going to play Tom and Jerry with the police. This guy is going to give the Lusaka police a run for their money. That's for sure. So the woman who the police had found on the footpath, this is how they found her. She had bruises on her neck and on her navel, and she was emitting some white foam from her mouth. So that led police to believe that the attacker, whoever the perpetrator was, had given the victim, that woman, some type of acid or chemical. So yeah, and she was not in a good state, and she was left, like, for the public to see, to find, like, come on. And then, hey, the killings were just beginning. This was just the beginning of it, Sasa. Now he had now started. And I think he used to get, like, really excited because now he was giving, like, police headache and stuff. And then 25 days later, they retrieved the sixth victim. And the sixth victim, she was mentioned to be seen in the company of a soldier. At this point, the police knew that all the bodies that they had found earlier, and the murders that were going on and everything, they were all linked. It was all like the same person or the same group of people because of the natures of the murder. That is one thing that they managed to, like, conclude. Sorry. They managed to conclude, but still they were not able to establish, who it was, or if it really was the work of one person or a gang. But whoever was committing this crime, he really wanted them to find the bodies. He really wanted to play this game with the police. It almost kind of like excited them, whoever they were. At this point, the police didn't know who they were dealing with. And it wouldn't be until the 16th victim where the police will actually find out the strangler's body. By this time, he was already known as the Lusaka Strangler. That was his nickname, because now they had no, like, real solid identity for this guy. And Miriam Chiwala was the 16th victim, and police found a cardboard next to her, and next to her body. And was the message that he wrote, the killer wrote on the cardboard. And it said, and I quote, nothing to say. Sorry, this was the message. Nothing to say, guys. And don't mind at all what I told you when you were going for election. Comrades, no woman now. Please, my friend, be careful when you walk. You was no woman now. Do you get it? Because I don't. And the Lusaka police didn't. And Zambia didn't. Because it left everybody, like, really confused. And even at first when I read what he wrote, I was like, yeah? Yeah? And then I read again and I was like, huh? Because I don't get it. Like, what do you mean? What do you mean? And it left everybody, including me, confused. And the Lusaka police, they were like, huh? I bet everyone had that reaction when they read it, because we just don't get it. And this message did leave people like so confused. And at this time, because the killings were so like they were happening so frequently, people were enraged. The citizens of Zambia were enraged. Women were so afraid for their lives to like even go anywhere. They were so afraid, and people were now starting to put pressure on the government. They were like, you guys have to do something. If you cannot do something, you need to bring international help. And do you know what the government did? The government was like, no, we can handle this. We do not need international help. We don't need help from outside. We do not need FBI to come in. We can take care of this. Our police are, they are well trained and skilled enough to solve this and to capture this guy. But with the rate of the killings and the police not succeeding in actually finding who this guy was, this guy who was terrorizing the whole country, the women of this country was, they had little to no faith when it came to this. They were like, I don't know, you guys, if you need help, just get help. And the government was like, we can do this, just trust us. So yeah. And this I have a big problem with this part, because a strict curfew was put out for women. A strict dawn to dusk curfew was put out for women, and they were told to be very careful, and women were advised to be very vigilant, and just be on your toes. And this is my problem with this, like, and we see this a lot happening, especially to women. Like, this is a man terrorizing women, this is someone killing women, this is someone committing crimes against women. Women, they have done nothing to this guy, but it so happens that women have to pay for, they always have to pay for such things, because it's like, what? Do your job, get this guy, get him away from society, capture him, confine him, and let's go on. But why do we have to pay for something we haven't done? I don't know, there's just so much, like, I have a problem with that. But that's what they could do. They hadn't found the Lusaka Strangler, so they had to advise women to like be really vigilant, and they had to put a strict curfew. But still, I don't know, do you get what I'm trying to say? I'm like, I get them, but then I'm like, that's not fair. But yeah, anyway, so let me go do my eyebrows very quick, and I'll be right back. So I'm back with the eyebrows done. Yeah, so let's continue. And during that time, as everything was like going on, the police put out a reward for, the strangler's head. If anybody had any information about this guy, you come out and they're going to give you a reward. And this usually works because people want the reward. So people are like flogging the police phone and like giving them information. But some of information obviously is usually sadly false information, because everybody is on to wants that reward, and I get it. And in 1980, that same year, June, the death toll was standing at 23 victims, all women. There was no like compromising or any, it was just all women. This guy was just going for women's head, and that was it. Sorry. And the best investigators in Zambia came together, joined hands, and they formed a team called CIT, and they started Operation Rosemary. That was the operation. And one William Mundia was the person who led police to actually believe this is not the work of a gang, it is the work of a one man, because of how similar the cases were, all the victims, how they were found, how similar the murders were. So he led police to believe that, and at least they had down to one thing off the table. Like, at least they had one thing off the table. They were like, okay, now we have this information. At least now we know it's not a gang. We are looking for one particular person. So at least we can now know where to go from here. At least they had that information. And shout outs to William Mundia for that. Anyway, so police got their breakthrough in 1980 when one of this guy's victim ended up surviving. Yes, so he did a job. He did one job half done. And one of his victim, her name was Nora Soko. She ended up surviving the ordeal, and he gave the description to police. The man was a dark man who wore a soldier's uniform, and he spoke English with a Lozi accent. So police now had an idea, like they now know that, sorry, my English is running away from me. They now knew they were looking for a soldier who spoke English with a Lozi accent, and he was a dark man. And Nora said that her attacker had tribal marks on his face, like how you take a razor and he had tribal marks on his face. So at least now they had a very good idea about the case and what they were looking for. At least things were looking good for them, things were moving forward, and they were happy. People now started regaining faith in the police force and Mission Rosemary. And Nora says this is how it happened. She was at a bus station, I believe, and this soldier approached her and, lured her by, grabbing her bag and going with it. Like someone, like you're just standing waiting for a bus and someone comes and grabs your bag and runs with it. The first thing I will do, or any other normal person will do, is to go find that guy, like run for your bag, like hey, where are you taking my bag? So when he lured her out of the bus station, it so happened that he went and dragged her, and he took her to like a nearby Olympic swimming pool, and he did what he does to every victim that he actually encounters. But this time, her screams for help were what helped her. When he left her alone there, she screamed, and guards who were nearby, thankfully there were guards nearby, they came and rescued her, and they took her to hospital, and that's where they called the police, and she gave this detailed description of what she remembers of her her attacker to be. So now, like I mentioned, that police now knew that they were looking for a soldier. It seems that this guy, had a hunch of this information because he did not strike in the next few days. But, old habits die hard. He obviously just had to go back there, and obviously he had to strike again, and he went back. So this guy, Mr. Sipalo, he did strike again, and he went back to the bus station, and he found one woman called Mrs. Mutakasha. I believe I have not butchered that. I believe, yeah, Mrs. Mutakasha. So actually, Mrs. Mutakasha is going to play a very huge role in catching this, this fellow. And shout outs to Mrs. Mutakasha for that. So Mrs. Mutakasha, they were traveling with another young lady from Lusaka heading to Petauke. Yeah. Why do I keep on saying that? I keep on repeating these names because I really don't want to butcher them, and I really want to get the pronunciation right. At least not with the accent. At least I get the pronunciation right. So yeah, they were going to Petauke, and because they reached late at the bus station, and they were afraid of all these things that were going on, all this, because every woman in the country was very vigilant at the moment. So they decided to spend the night at the bus station. And I don't know if this was a good idea or a bad idea. I don't know, because as they were, they were setting in for the night, two soldiers approached them. two soldiers approached them, and they were like trying to convince them to go to a guest house. They're like, yo, let's go to a guest house and stuff. But Mrs. Mutakasha, she was very like vigilant, and her guard was up, and she was like, you know what, no. And also the other lady, because at this time, obviously, imagine all these killings going around, and then two guys come and tell you, let's go. Two strange guys come. It don't matter if they're in, police uniform or what. They come and then they tell you, oh, come on, let's go to a guest house. Like, dude, no. What if you are the killer? And they were right for this, because they did not follow them, and because those two soldiers that had approached them, one of them was this Sipalo guy. One of them was Sipalo, and it was not clear up to date if he worked with the other soldier. We're going to get into that a little bit later. But as for now, let's continue with Mrs. Mutakasha. So what one of the guy did, I believe Sipalo, he took their bags, and Mrs. Mutakasha stayed still. She's like, I am badging. I'm not going anywhere. You take the bags. But the other lady was like, you are not taking our bags. So she followed the guy, outside of the station. She followed the guy outside of the station. And that was the last time Mrs. Mutakasha ever saw that young lady. She was much younger than her, and that was the last time she ever saw. And it's not actually confirmed if she was also one of the victims or not. That is really not confirmed. But what we know, Mrs. Mutakasha said, I just never saw her again. So they came back after like an hour or so. They came back and they were trying to convince Mrs. Mutakasha to go with them to the guest house. They were so persuasive to a point that Mrs. Mutakasha was like, you know what? Okay, fine, let's go. So they went. And wrong decision. But I do not really think that any decision is right. Like, you really don't you really you really don't stand a chance. You really don't chance to stand. You really don't stand a chance when it came to, like, there's two, or Sipalo, at least for what we know. You really don't stand a chance, because if she would have stayed there, her fate was already sealed. I would like to believe so she followed them, and she woke up in a bush near a secondary school called Kamwala Secondary School. And she struggled and tried to get help. Let me do my eyelashes real quick, and I'll be right back. I'm back with the lashes, and so yeah, let's continue. So Mrs. Mutakasha, when she struggled and managed to crawl by to a nearby house, and they called for help. And when she was at the hospital, she gave an even more detailed description of whoever did this to her. And police now knew exactly what they were up to, knew that. And so police, this is what they planned. They planned to capture the perpetrators, and they succeeded, because the guy Sipalo fell for the trap, and this is what they did. They sent the two victims back to the station, the bus station, like a month later of Mrs. Mutakasha recovering. So they sent her back to the bus station with the other victim also. But this guy approached Mrs. Mutakasha and started talking to her, and as she was talking to him back, the police closed in and captured him. At last the police proved, like, we can do it, and they did it. And you know what, congratulations, shout outs to that. But my thing is, like, imagine being the victim of this guy. Imagine him almost like killing you, because he shoots to kill. And when I say shoot to kill, I don't mean literally. He, like, if he gets you, he wants to kill you. If he attacks you, he means to kill you. There's no any other way about it, or like, oh no, it was just a mistake. No. So these two survivors, they're actually really lucky that they survived this ordeal, this horrific ordeal. But can you imagine being his victim and what you had to went through and all that, and then had to replay all that and act all that again? That is so traumatizing. That is so traumatizing. I cannot imagine that. But you know what, Mrs. Mutakasha, shout outs to you, because you know she came through, and also the other woman, Nora, they came through. They came through. My English is going today. They came through, and they managed to help the police capture this guy. And I'm happy that they did. And then this guy, you think justice is going to be served? So he was going to be transferred for interrogation from one station to another. He managed to escape. He managed to escape, and just let me do my lips real quick, I promise. So I'm back with my lips and everything basically done. I know. Anyway, let's get back into it. Let's finish because it's the last bit. So this guy, he decided to escape, and he escaped police, but he escaped police in the, you know, in the station compound. So he ran all the way to the roof and started to, you know, threaten police that he's going to unplug his life. Like, I'm going to kill myself. I'm going to, you know, unplug my life. I'm going to unlife myself. I'm going to throw myself off. But my question is this: there are police in the station, right? How did he manage to like run from police and then like get into the station where police are and climb all the way to the roof? Like, I don't know. I don't get it. But anyway, so that's what happened. That's what happened. And it was hours of police. It took hours for police to beg him to like calm down. They're like, you know what, please, like we can talk about it. We can talk about it. They were like trying to negotiate. But then unfortunately, he unplugged his life, and there was really no closure. And there was really no hearing because now the perpetrator is gone. And did he pay for what he did? Hell no. Yeah, no. I'm not a, you know, supporter of death sentences, or when like people who commit crimes unplug their lives. I'm like, you need to stay here and pay, you know. So did he pay for what he did? Hell no. But you know, when it came to him unplugging his life, there was still a lot of like questions and a lot of issues unresolved he left behind. Like, how many number of women did he actually kill? Because it was believed that he killed actually more women than police found. Sorry. It was believed that he killed more women than police found. And the other officer who was with him, police wanted to know, like, was he his partner or was he just his friend? And people also wanted to know, why did the government not like try to seek help from, you know, outside international you know, help? Why did they not want that? And also, like, what were his motives? All these things were all left unresolved. So that is the case of this Lusaka Strangler. It was so unfortunate. He was a soldier. He was, you know, part of the force, because like I said when I was beginning the video, you really like think that this person is someone who's supposed to help you, someone who's supposed to, like, you know, guard you, someone who's supposed to, you know, protect you. But then they end up doing the exact opposite. So for people who, or for families, or for the victims who actually survived, obviously it will be like your faith in them, in like the force, will like reduce. But it was just so sad and unfortunate, because now someone like this will make people lose faith in like the force, and there are actually good police out there who are actually doing their work, a lot of them. But a few rotten mangoes in the sack will make now the whole sack go bad. And yeah, so it was very unfortunate that he was part of the force, someone who's actually supposed to legally protect the country and its citizens. I'm actually really mad at this guy, because I imagine, like, if something goes wrong and you just see a police somewhere officer, you'll go to them for help, and they're supposed to help you. That's how it's supposed to be. Anyway, enough of me ranting. That is today's video, and this is today's makeup look, which I am totally in love with. I know, I'm totally in love with it. And oh, I'm tired. That's why today my words and my English was kind of like running away from me. Don't mind that. So yeah, it's really nice being here. Thank you for being here. Please don't forget to subscribe, like, share, comment, and click that bell icon down below. And don't forget to tell a friend to tell a friend to tell a friend. Support a sister here. Yeah. So see you next time. And yeah, this is Crime and Coffee with Aisha Noor. Bye.